People don't like you when you win too much. And I'm here to tell 1,000 people in here and 50,000 online, there's a whole lot of people that are not gonna like you in 2025. They're not gonna like you because you're gonna keep winning. You're gonna keep getting favor. I don't want anybody in my life that can't celebrate my wins anyway. And watch this, and the people who've been around long enough should know, if I'm in my season of favor, you should be cheering because you were with me when it wasn't this way. Who am I talking to in here? I want to celebrate with the people that say, I watched you come up. I watched you go through hell. I watched you almost give up. Now look at you, walking in your favor. Got you a beautiful new home. Look at how God restored you. The first marriage didn't work. Now you all in love and booed up. Y'all on vacation in Mexico. Your kids got scholarships to college. How did God turn this around? I'm trying to help somebody. You're about to step into your dominionaire status. People don't.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everyone is doing well today. I want to send a shout out to those who are watching my video for the first time today, and just welcome you to my channel, My Life Perspective. And just watching this clip, I'll go ahead and get to the topic, right? Just watching this clip, depending upon who you are and what stage you are at, the moment in time in your life, at the point. Whether you feel like you're at a point where you're about to experience a breakthrough, or you're going through some really tough times of trial and tribulations, it's really powerful to see, God move in ways that, no one expects, right? And to do things, to shake things up, where you were at the bottom and now you're no longer at the bottom, you're at the top. Or not necessarily the top of the world, because we all know you don't have to necessarily be at the top of the world to be the happiest. But you can be the top and start experiencing top moments in your life where you're starting to come out on top, where you're winning in life. You're experiencing financial breakthroughs. You're attracting the right people for mates, relationships, developing the right friendships. You're experiencing promotions and career opportunities. You're able to afford new cars, new homes, and you're healed, right? You're healthy. You're mentally in a better state of mind than you were, or than you once were before. Those are also breakthroughs. A lot of times we think of breakthroughs, we think about, the external things, the external factors, but breakthroughs are a lot more, complex than that, in a good way, right? So let's go ahead and get to the topic, right? When it's your season, nothing can stop what God has ordained for you. And I say this because as I watched the clip, it was powerful to see that in moments where you struggle, one thing that in life teaches you is, it teaches you when you're at the bottom, it teaches you, who's really there for you, who your real true friends are, who really values you, who really appreciates your presence, who's really there for you to help you up, who encourages you. When you're when you're on your last dollar, when you're giving your last to help someone that was also struggling, you see who's willing to reach out to help you. Because, in this day and age, we live in a world today where there are good people in this world, right? But a lot of times people want to see you and experience you when you're at your highest of high of moments in life. When you're vibrating in a high vibration and frequency, where you're attracting all these good things, these quote unquote great people. People love to show you their good side, their great side, and the great things about them when you're up. But when you're in your moments where you're not experiencing breakthrough, when you're trying to figure out how to make ends meet, you experience a season of brokenness, and now you need to heal, and you wonder who to reach out to. A lot of times people also show you their true colors in terms of who they are and what they're about. And we live in a day and age today where people definitely show you their true side, their true colors, and if their friendship actually matters and means something to them, or to you. And as I watched this clip, a lot of times, what's also sad is people also show you their true colors when you do start to come up, because some people, they want to see you do good, but not better than them. And so when God starts to bless you and open doors, when God starts to, bring out ways of abundance, into your life, the people that were always there for you, sometimes, one of them or a few of them, or a couple of them may start to show their funny side and show you how they really feel about your come up, your success. You start experiencing people that are truly there for you, that were really happy for you. Some people will be, yeah, I'm really happy for you. You deserve it. And they're speaking life into you. They're really happy. They're really, trying to bring out the best in you, and they're really hopeful for you. Now, those are the people that are your real friends. People that, are really truly excited and actually mean it. People that are actually there for you in those moments where they're like, yeah, I remember when you were down and you had nothing, but now look at you. You're up. They're not, saying, side jokes and, things that can make you question their friendship or their relationship, right? But on the flip side, you got people that were there for you, that were, on your side, that all they really wanted to see you do was just come up so you can, be on their level, but not surpass them. And, those are the people that you have to be careful about, because those are the ones that a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, those are the ones that are like, yeah, we want to see you come up and do good, but secretly, that once you start coming up and you start rising higher than them, then you start noticing their little slick comments that come out from underneath their breath, like, whoa, you need to humble yourself. Who you think you are. And, oh, look at you. You think you big time, and now look at you. You think you somebody now. A true friend, wouldn't say like things like that. Haters say things like that. And a lot of times, those haters are people that truly don't want you to surpass them, right? Sometimes it's God's destiny, it's God's plan to put you past those that once were on your side, because God has bigger and better plans than what you could ever have imagined for yourself. And so I say all this to say that in moments and times where in life, when you're trying to come up, when you feel like you're down and you don't have no one else to reach out to, think back to the people that you were able to call upon. People that actually reached out just to check on, just to see how you were doing. People that, they cared about your spirit. They gave a damn about, whether you ate that day, because they know you didn't have food in your refrigerator. In this world today, we need a sense of empathy, and we need to, have a little more sense of humanity, that a lot of times gets overlooked or talked down upon. It's like we want, the worst for people sometimes, but then it's like, why? You already see that person in their lowest moment, why not bring them up? Why not raise them up? And do what you can to encourage others where you can, and empower them with kind words, and let them know that they're loved. There's nothing more powerful than someone who is truly there for you, and truly cares about you. Scripture says it itself, God will never leave you or forsake you, and I'm not here to preach, a holier than thou message about, God and Christianity, but I'm just saying that to relate to this video in this context, because, one thing that life has shown me is that a lot of times people fall away from your life Because when God takes you places and starts elevating you in your life, everybody can't go, where you're destined to go, where you're destined to become. Because not everyone sees your vision. Not everyone sees or can understand and accept what it is that's in store for your life. The plans for you are for good and not for evil. You know? So a lot of times, when you're questioning, even myself in my life, I question, why am I giving my number out? These people aren't reaching out. Sometimes, God didn't ordain for them to be there. They're not ordained for you, right? And sometimes, where the plans are for you to go and to be led into your season of victory and breakthrough and success, doesn't involve a lot of those people, you know, and it's okay, because the people that are truly meant to be in your life will show you who they are by the fruit that they bear. And I'm a big believer that, once take the time to acknowledge, your worth and your value, you won't just put yourself in the hands of just any old body, any old person. You won't just, let anyone, anything, or anyone, question whether you're destined to do something or not. If you see yourself, your worth and value, and you know that you want to come out and have a breakthrough experience, the overflow of blessings, sometimes you gotta let certain people go, right? Hanging on to people that truly won't be there, truly won't celebrate your success. You know, so at the end of the day, you know, just watching that clip, one thing I've learned is when it comes to people, when you're dealing with people in today's world, count your blessings for those that truly do appreciate you and show you that you mean a lot more to them than just the money you'll spend on them, just the things that you have, right? Um, Another part of this video that I liked is just the simple fact that when you're experiencing overflow and you overcome those trials, tribulations, you learn a lot of life lessons. Not only just about people, but about yourself. You learn what you can overcome. You learn that when you have fear of going homeless or being broke or being poor, and you all of a sudden end up in those moments, you learn more about yourself, how to survive, how to overcome those situations, because now you're in a situation where you've never experienced rock bottom. And rock bottom teaches you, two things. One, know how to be wise with your money, how to appreciate what you had before. And two, you know, how to be wise with what you had before. You know, there's been moments and times in my life where I had a job, but financially I was rock bottom. And I needed a breakthrough, and I had it, and I experienced it. And I just think, I'm thankful for it, because a lot of times in life, we don't always see, or we don't always know what's coming next. You never know what the next day may bring. But I always do my best to be thankful and to show gratitude, because in this day and age, in this world, you're here today, gone the next. So I try to be thankful. I try to be appreciative, and I try to remember the lessons that I've learned. Being smart, being appreciative of what you have. At the same time, never be afraid to strive for more, strive for better. But always think about, how you can impact those around you in a good way. And if you're someone that, just needs a message of, kind words or someone that just, needs someone to uplift you, shout out to those that have gone through, tough times, and now you're experiencing your breakthrough. This is your winning season, and things are happening in a good way for you, because, Lord only knows, what we go through, what it is that we experience on a day-to-day basis. Shout out to those that truly need it, and a lot of times we just truly need, that kind, where we need that upliftment, where we can feel like, the world isn't truly against us. Just to have something go well for us for the first time in a long time is a breakthrough in itself. Like, finally, I accomplished something, Now, out of all the 5 goals I set in mind, this one goal, this one thing finally works out, and it's like, wow, I'm thankful because you know something finally worked out. That gives me hope to know that I can manifest. I can, you know, bring about such things that I desire. All right, so that is all for today's video. I want to thank you for any new subscribers, and if you're new to my channel and you like this video, please feel free to leave a comment and tell me down below, the breakthroughs that you experience or what you have going on. All right, and if you know someone else going through a breakthrough, but I just want to thank you for listening to my video today. Please feel free to leave a comment down below. Please like, share, and subscribe to my content. And as I've said before in the previous videos, to be informed is not to be woke. Stay conscious, my friends.